Hello and welcome to Channels Book Club. My name is Olakunle Kasumwa, and it's always great to be on this show where we discuss all things books. You know the question I always ask. How many books have you read this year? So at the beginning of the year, we challenged you to, set a goal for your reading for the year. It's always a good thing to do. And we've been asking how far with that goal. So if you set a goal to read a book a month at the beginning of this year, how many of those books have you read? We're in the middle of the year already. So keep that going. If you've not done that, you can still do it. Still some months to go before the year hits the end. So have a plan and start reading. I'll keep asking you that question so to get you on your toes, to keep you reading, because reading is such a powerful, powerful habit to develop. Now, people wonder what they should be reading. There's always this debate about whether paper books are superior to e-books. Some people like to read e-books. Some people like to read hard copy books. Well, I prefer the hard copy books, but I still do e-books. Whatever works for you, just pick what works for you. But talking about e-books, very interesting statistics I have here by Janik Lindner, who is a very respected entrepreneur and opinion leader in the literary space, in the technology space, I mean. Now, he says in 2020, the revenue of ebooks amounted to $14.84 billion globally. 14.84. So, e-books sold globally in 2020 amounted to $14.84 billion. And then also again in 2020, e-book sales accounted for about 18% of all book sales globally. So the conversation about the debate about whether or not e-books are better than copy books, whether e-books are phasing out hard copy books, and so on. Well, these numbers help. 18% of all book sales around the world were e-books in 2020. Now, here's another stat. As of 2021, 39% of independent authors primarily publish their work as e-books. So more and more people are now publishing their works in e-book formats. So more people are publishing e-book format. More e-books are being sold globally. And this is just interesting statistics. So quite a number of people are predicting that sometime down the line, we're going to see some kind of balance. And they are arguing that paper books will not be phased out completely. Well, time will tell. We'll keep our eyes on that as that develops. But for Nigerian writers and authors, more of them are beginning to produce their books, not just in paper format, but also in e-book format. And they're uploading their books on e-publishing platforms more and more. And that is working well for them. So if you're thinking of writing your own book, begin to think about not just printing your copies out, but also creating ebooks and publishing them on ebook platforms like Amazon and Barnes and Nobles and so on. So get ready for the revolution that is inevitable, so to speak. It's already happening right before our very eyes. Well, today's author is interesting. His book, I just kept reading. He's written quite a fascinating novel. Let's get to meet with him and then enjoy the conversation. That book, Solidarity Under a Mustard Seed, is one that you will like to read by the time we're done. Enjoy this.
Enoch Okeze is an environmentalist and an author. He obtained his first degree in mechanical engineering from Igbinedion University, Okada, a master's degree in environmental protection and planning from the University of Lagos. Okeze is the co-founder of the Solidarity Empowerment Club, a non-profit outfit which is focused on empowering underserved Nigerians. He joins Channel's book club to discuss his newest book, Solidarity Under the Mustard Tree.
Enoch, nice to have you on Channel's book club.
Oh, great. I mean, it's such an amazing opportunity being with you.
It's great to have you here.
Yeah.
But Enoch is your pen name.
Exactly.
I've always been intrigued by that. There have been many great writers in history who use pen names to write. It's a very interesting concept.
Yeah. So when I have that, when the Enoch thing is on me, so I get the inspiration to, put things down, and it brings out that very creative part of my being.
Okay.
Yeah.
So is that why you picked a pen name? Does it sort of like give you a sense of a different persona, a writer's spirit, the moment you use it to write? How does it work?
Yeah, basically, so this is creativity, of course. So so the name Enoch, it's more like that name that gives me that inspiration, to put things down and get them together. Particularly when it comes to book writing or other creative aspects. Like, I'm also into filming, movie production, and all of that, scripting and all of that. Yeah.
Okay. So before we dive into this book, this fascinating book you've written, tell me a bit about that. What you just mentioned now, you do quite a number of things, but for you, writing, what's your story? When did you start to write, and what inspired you?
Okay, so my first book was on just right after the NYSC. Yeah, it's like years or more than a decade ago, and it was focused on climate change and environmental protection. And that my inspiration came from the point of view where there was the need for environmental stewardship, and that was just right in the midst of the global concern on climate change, the need for renewables, and all of that. So I put the first book on climate change, and that was it. I worked at some point with the then Minister of Environment, and the person of Dr. Amina Mohammed. So she also presented the book during the 10th National Council on the Environment at Lafia. Lafia is in Nasarawa State. Yeah, so she presented the book, and then shortly after, then she moved to the UN.
Okay.
Yeah, so the book had some, good sales. It was also endorsed by the NERDC, which is the Nigerian Education Research and Development Council.
So that's quite a leap. That was non-fiction.
Yeah.
This is fiction. This is creativity.
Yeah.
You have to develop characters. You have to set the backdrops. You have to weave the story, or should I say stories of the different characters together.
Exactly.
To form one story around your themes and all that. So what was that leap like from writing a book on climate change to a novel?
Well, it's still on the backdrop of that having that desire to write. It still comes from the same source, of trying to piece your mind down in paper and get it out there for people to read. But then it also took quite a while, because I'll tell you, this book has been in manuscript form for more than 10 years.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, and some of the intrigues within the book, had not even played out, before the book was published. Yeah. So it's been in manuscript for more than 10 years, and here we are now. It's published.
Congratulations. I was intrigued when I was reading this. Fortunately, not a very large size, so anybody who picks this up will read it quite quickly. And the story is engaging. Now, let's introduce viewers to this book now. So, Under the Mustard Tree, Solidarity. What's the story about in summary?
Okay, so the lead character of the story is this mixed race young lady called Chiamaka. So she's
Popularly called Amaka.
Exactly. Yes, exactly. So she's mixed race from British descent, and Now she's moved to her country, to run the national, which is more like what we do in Nigeria with the NYSC.
Yeah.
So she's moved to our country to run their national service. And somehow she's
a country called Nigeria.
Exactly. Yeah. And then she's moved to Nigeria, which is our country, of course. And then she's caught up in
Nigeria, by the way, is like Nigeria.
Yeah, well, yeah, so to speak. So she's right there, and she's caught up in this insurgency. There's a political breakout of political and some sort of religious undertone, and she's right there, caught up in the midst of it. And she's serving.
She's kidnapped.
She's kidnapped while serving in the school where she's posted. So she's kidnapped, and then in the midst of that, she becomes the preferred wife
of the leader of
the
insurgents.
Yes.
Samadin.
Yeah, exactly.
Am I correct?
Exactly.
So Samadin is the bad guy, the leader of the sect.
Yeah.
Who is the tall, handsome, model-looking guy.
Great.
But is
vicious.
He's vicious. So Samadin forces her to marry him.
Exactly.
Yeah. While she was the victim.
Yeah.
She had been kidnapped.
Yeah.
Okay. Go on, please. I'm just interjecting to
exactly. Yeah. So she's right there, never, in her wildest dreams, never expecting to experience such. Mostly, to the fact that, of course, she's of British descent, and she's right in the heart of this chaos, and then in the midst of that, she gets pregnant, and she's seeing the entire intrigues play out. She's caught up in the intrigues of being the preferred wife to the terrorist leader, who now begins to unveil certain truths and, operational activity about
truths like permit me to keep in.
Yeah, that's okay.
Certain truths like affiliations with people in governments, people in the military, right?
Yeah.
Governors.
Wow. Yeah.
Is that correct?
Of course.
Yeah. So, okay. So I was reading this and I was saying, so is this what is going on in Nigeria? That I'm going to ask you whether whether you're privy to what is going on in the country.
Well, the book
because because the sect he was leading, Al-Boran.
Yeah.
Is that correct?
Al-Boran, of course.
Al-Boran.
Yeah.
Okay. Sounds to me like Boko Haram. In Nigeria. And he's the leader of the sect. And he's hobnobbing with people in power. I've been told that this is the way terrorism works all over the world. That people, that terrorists often have their partners in governments around the world. I've been told that. So, is that the kind of knowledge you had on which you base the story, or you were just playing around in your mind?
No. So basically, this is a fiction. So so if you look at the book, you see events and places and characters are not real. So the concept of the story is it's just being creative as to how she's caught up in the midst of this this terror sect, and how their operation, how they tend to network with their operation, both with the individuals, in high places and all of that. So it's just a play of more like creativity. And as we could see in other movies, maybe action movies, for example. So let's not just base it on the terror network.
Yeah.
So even in other intriguing movies or let's say drug cartel movie.
Yeah.
Where they always have network of people around. So it's just similar, yes. But in this context, it's terrorism. And of course, you now see how they also have their network of affiliates in high places in the government and all of that. Yeah.
Let's talk about your writing style, which I like. In your prologue, for example, let's use that as a sample. A gust of wind blew a lonesome sheet of paper from the fireplace of the woman who was frying akara into the open road. Her child struggled to catch the errant paper as the wind blew it left and right, but gave up after a few tries. The innocent shits, carried on the wings of the wind, continued its journey across the road. This is Amaka looking at that paper, right?
Exactly.
And you're describing the movement of that paper.
Yeah.
Occasionally, the wind will come to a standstill and the paper will drop to the red earth below. But its rest would only last some minutes before it continued its flight to nowhere. From across the road, I watched as the paper deterred, fluttered between a sea of legs before resting its flight in an unkept drainage in front of the old market. Beautiful. I like that.
Thank you. Thank you.
Take us a bit through, the way you think when you are writing like this.
So the idea is to be as detailed as possible, in your mind. So
and your descriptions.
In your descriptions, of course, how you translate what's in your mind down, and to carry your audience, your readers through, that particular scene and or that activity you're trying to portray. Yeah.
Wow, interesting. Very interesting. Solidarity is beyond the book, right?
Sure.
Can you tell me a bit about that? Because you mentioned that it's not just for you. It's not just this book. There's more to it.
Okay, so Solidarity is a series. So this is a series, and under the mustard tree is the first edition of the series.
Of a series.
Exactly.
Interesting.
And Solidarity, not just being a book, also is more like it's a club focused on empowerment. So just right after publication, it was agreed by the team that 50% of the proceeds from each sale of this book goes towards the empowerment of individuals. And when I mean empowerment, there's a lineup of activities. That's from skills acquisitions to undergraduate student scholarship to leadership trainings to supporting small businesses out there and having small businesses experience some sort of accelerator program or incubation. So the skills acquisition aspect is also divided into two. You have the vocational skills and then the IN skills. This IN skills is more like the IT skill, which is what the world needs right now. So that's Solidarity. So many of our readers, they don't just. Some people go beyond just buying the book. They also say, look, we want to make a donation
to that cause.
Exactly. And over the last few couple of months ago, we've had beneficiaries. We've had some students grab, some scholarship. We've had the business owner being supported. And, the impact is going one person at a time. And we're seeing smiles on the faces of people.
I'm trying to connect that to this story, this particular Under the Mustard Tree. I'm trying to make the connection. So, were you in a way concerned about the state
of Nogueira?
Exactly. And let's bring it down home. I'm concerned about the state of Nigeria, which now led to insurgency
or the chaos
in the northern part of Nigeria. And do you feel that one way of dealing with that issue is through empowerment? Is that a connection, or I'm trying to tie?
Oh yeah, I think you're actually trying to tie. You're trying to tie the book to Nigeria, but I mean, like I said, it's pure fiction. It has basically no ties with the inspiration. Is not necessarily tied to Nigeria. But then, if the book itself, when you look at the state of that country, Nogueira, you'll see that, like you said, the issues that the country was facing was as a result of the hardship, which some of the younger people or the youths were not just victims of in terms of the hardship, but also victims as to being lured into the sect.
Okay.
Yeah, and because of, they had no other place to, to turn to for their daily needs.
Okay.
Yes.
Okay. Well done. Thank you very much, Enoch, for joining us on Channels Book Club. I can keep calling you Enoch. That's your pen name. Thank you for joining us on Channels Book Club.
You're welcome. It's a privilege, sir. I'm very, very excited being here today.
It's great to have you here.
Thank you so much. I finally get to be with you.
Oh, wow. I'm honored.
Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thanks for joining us. I hope you enjoyed that. Up next, YWAV recently organized a reading competition. This is one that is destined to inspire a lot of young people in this country, Nigeria, to read going forward. We were there. Enjoy this.
Youth with a Vision, YWAV, has organized its maiden book reading competition on the book titled Readers Are Leaders by Dr. Elvis Ukpaka.
You're looking very smart today, and our judges, they are all present here today.
At this reading competition, pupils from 20 secondary schools across Lagos State were challenged to read the book earlier, and all participated in the first round of the competition.
I'm 50 something.
I'd like to especially recognize the present.
After the first round, 10 schools made the second round, and the participants were asked to summarize different chapters of the book.
The authors start by defining a leader who is a visionary, one who is able to see an ideal future.
From the 10 schools, 5 schools, Omole Senior Grammar School, Strong Tower Academy, Faith Academy, Ikeja Senior High School, and Lisbon Private College made the final round.
In Readers Are Leaders, Dr. Elvis Ukpaka argues that in order for you to be an effective reader, you have to cultivate the habit of reading and being informed.
As the saying goes, time spent on reading is never time lost or wasted. Economic hardship and how the government should improve the educational facilities. No matter how many books you read, it doesn't matter. What matters is applying the knowledge that you gain from that book.
Leaders constantly develop their mind through reading, and this brings us to the fact that a leader is a problem solver. One of the greatest challenges facing Africa, especially Nigeria, is that both the leaders and the followers are not taking education seriously.
After a fierce impromptu summary of the book from all finalists, the winners were announced.
With a rousing ovation, let's welcome the winner for this year's edition. All the way. Are you ready? From Strong Tower! Put your hands together, people.
Best, number one, nothing less. Lead me to my destiny. I have waited patiently. I have vision, though I believe. I know I can count on me.
I really appreciate this opportunity. I must say that even this made personal changes on me, and I hope it changes everyone else out there, and I hope this motivates everyone to keep going no matter what. You can achieve what you want. Just set your goal and you will have it.
Anybody that are here would have witnessed for himself what has happened. I think Dr. Ukpaka has done a great job by organizing this to stimulate reading culture in the mind of our young people.
I had a lot of struggle growing up in my academics, and someone mentored me, my big brother, and then my academic life changed, and I became very good in my academics. So I discovered that a lot of people, not because they don't want to read or they are not intelligent, but all they need is just a little coaching, a little mentoring, or a little mentorship, and they will come up, become good readers, and become very good with the academics. And that happened to me. I changed from being last in class to becoming first in class.
The reading competition is one of the initiatives organized by YWAV to inspire and encourage Nigerian teenagers and youth.
Well, Well, this is where we have to bring the show to an end. As always, we'll be delighted to get your feedback through any of our social media platforms displayed on your screen. My name is Olakunle Kasubu. Remember, one great book can change your life. Bye-bye.